Imagine standing beneath a swirling sky, shades of blue and gold dancing together. You feel the wind brushing against your face, and it almost feels like the stars above are alive. Now imagine. The man who painted this magnificent scene, the Starry Night, never got to see the world love his art. In his lifetime, he sold just one painting, yet today, his paintings are worth millions, and his story continues to touch hearts across the world. His name, Vincent van Gogh. The man who turned pain into beauty, loneliness into light, and heartbreak into color. This isn't just the story of an artist, it's the story of someone who refused to stop creating, even when the world ignored him. So grab a seat, because today we're diving into the life, struggles, and timeless lessons of one of history's most misunderstood geniuses. Vincent Willem van Gogh was born on March 30th, 1853, in a small Dutch village called Zundert in the Netherlands. He was the eldest son of Theodorus van Gogh, a Protestant minister, and Anna Cornelia Carbentus, a woman who loved nature and art. From the beginning, Vincent was different. While other children played outside, he preferred to walk through fields, sketch flowers, or stare at the sky for hours. He once said, "If you truly love nature, you will find beauty everywhere." That was Vincent, deeply emotional, intensely thoughtful, always searching for meaning in the simplest things. But life wasn't kind to him early on. He was quiet, awkward, and often misunderstood. He didn't fit in at school. He would later write in a letter to his brother Theo, "My youth was gloomy and cold and sterile." Vincent's family wanted him to follow a respectable career. At 16, he worked for an art dealership called Goupil & C, where he learned about paintings and met artists. He traveled between The Hague, London, and Paris, but instead of excitement, he felt emptiness. He fell in love with his landlady's daughter, but she rejected him. That heartbreak left a mark that never really healed. He tried other paths, teaching, ministry, preaching, but nothing worked. By his mid-20s, Vincent was lost, broke, and uncertain of who he was. Until one day, he picked up a pencil again. At the age of 27, Vincent made a decision that would change everything. He would become an artist. He wasn't trained. He didn't go to art school. He had no money, but he had a burning passion, and that was enough. He started studying art seriously, focusing on people and their daily lives. He lived in poverty, sketching peasants, miners, and farmers. His early works, like The Potato Eaters, were dark and earthy, showing the harsh reality of life. He wrote, "I want to paint men and women with that something of the eternal which the halo used to symbolize." Those words show his heart. He wanted his art to be human, real, and spiritual. But life was far from easy. He struggled financially, emotionally, and mentally. Most of his early works went unnoticed. He depended heavily on his younger brother Theo, who worked as an art dealer and supported him financially and emotionally. The letters between Vincent and Theo are among the most touching ever written, filled with love, hope, despair, and philosophy. Through those letters, we see a man who constantly battled self-doubt, but never gave up on creating beauty. In 1886, Vincent moved to Paris, where he met other artists like Claude Monet, Paul Gauguin, and Henri de Toulouse-Lautrec. Paris opened a new world for him, bright colors, light, and a revolution in art. Gone were the dark tones. Vincent's paintings exploded with color. Yellows, blues, greens. He experimented with brush strokes, creating his unique, swirling, textured style. He learned from Impressionists and Japanese prints, and his work began to glow with emotion. He painted self-portraits, still lifes with sunflowers, and scenes of Parisian life, all full of energy. But the city was overwhelming. The crowds, the chaos, the noise, it drained him. He longed for peace and simplicity, so he packed his brushes and moved south to Arles in the sunny countryside of France. When Vincent arrived in Arles in 1888, he was mesmerized by the light, the sun, and the fields of gold. He wrote to Theo, "What a beautiful yellow it is. Yellow is capable of charming God." He rented a small house, now famously known as the Yellow House, and dreamed of creating a community of artists, where they could paint together and inspire one another. He invited his friend Paul Gauguin to join him, and for a while, it seemed like that dream might come true. Together they painted side by side, but their personalities clashed. Vincent was emotional and impulsive, Gauguin was analytical and distant. Their arguments grew intense. Then, one night, after a heated dispute, Vincent suffered a breakdown in a moment of despair and confusion. He cut off part of his hair and gave it to a woman at a nearby brothel. This tragic event marked a turning point in his life. The people of Arles grew fearful of him. He was sent to a hospital for recovery, where he continued to paint. Even in madness, his art didn't stop. In 1889, Vincent voluntarily admitted himself to the St. Paul de Mossel Asylum in Saint-Rémy-de-Provence. The rooms were small, the walls bare, but the view outside, all of trees, fields, and mountains, gave him inspiration. From his small window, he painted some of his most famous works, including the Starry Night. Imagine that. He was at his lowest point, locked away, struggling with mental illness, yet he created one of the greatest masterpieces in art history. That's resilience, that's purpose, that's the power of creation. During this period, he painted over 150 works, portraits, landscapes, flowers, each filled with raw emotion. His colors became more vibrant, his brush strokes more intense. He wrote to Theo, "I am seeking, I am striving, I am in it with all my heart." That's what made Vincent special. Even in despair, he gave his whole heart. In May 1890, Vincent left the asylum and moved to Auvers-sur-Oise, near Paris, to be closer to Theo. He was under the care of Dr. Paul Gadget, himself an amateur artist. For a moment, it seemed like things might finally get better. He painted with passion and focus, nearly one painting a day. His works from this period, like Wheatfield with Crows and Portrait of Dr. Gadget, are full of emotion and energy, but deep inside, Vincent still battled darkness. Money troubles, health issues, and worries about Theo's family weighed heavily on him. On July 27, 1890, Vincent went out into a field with a revolver and shot himself. He was taken back to his room, where Theo rushed to his side. 2 days later, Vincent van Gogh passed away at the age of 37. Theo held his brother's hand as he whispered, "La tristesse durera toujours, the sadness will last forever." 6 months later, Theo died, his heart broken by grief. The two brothers were buried side by side in Auvers, surrounded by the fields Vincent once painted. When Vincent died, he was poor, unknown, and misunderstood. He sold only one painting, The Red Vineyard. Critics called him insane, but his art spoke a truth that time could not ignore. Theo's widow, Johanna van Gogh, believed in him. She collected his paintings, published his letters, and shared his story with the world. Slowly, the world began to understand his genius. Today, Vincent's paintings are displayed in the Van Gogh Museum in Amsterdam, in the Louvre, and in galleries all over the globe. His work has influenced countless artists, Picasso, Matisse, and modern painters who followed his fearless use of color and emotion. His style became a language of the soul, a bridge between suffering and beauty. His story became a symbol of perseverance, of creating light even when surrounded by darkness. Vincent van Gogh's journey teaches us more than just art. It teaches us how to live. It's never too late to start. Vincent began painting seriously at 27. Most people thought he'd wasted his life, but he proved that purpose can arrive late and still shine bright. Struggle does not define you. Pain and failure shaped Vincent, but they didn't stop him. They became his fuel. Sometimes your hardest times produce your most beautiful work. Passion is stronger than approval. Vincent didn't paint for fame. He painted because he had to, because his heart demanded it. That's what real passion looks like. You are not your circumstances. He lived in poverty, battled mental illness, and faced rejection, yet his art overflowed with color and life. No matter what you face, you can still create something beautiful. Legacy is built in silence. Vincent never saw his success, but his work changed the world. Remember, your effort, your kindness, your creativity might outlive you, let's take a closer look at some of his most iconic paintings and the stories behind them. The Starry Night, painted from his asylum window, captures the swirling dance of stars and the pulse of the night sky. It's not just a painting, it's emotion on canvas. He once said, "Looking at the stars always makes me dream." Sunflowers, a series of bright yellow paintings symbolizing friendship, joy, and hope. He painted them to decorate Gauguin's room at the Yellow House. Those sunflowers became a symbol of his optimism, even during chaos. The bedroom in Arles, a simple room painted in bold, flat colors. It reflects his longing for peace and simplicity, a place where he could rest his troubled mind. The Potato Eaters, one of his earliest major works, showing poor farmers eating together. Dark, raw, and real, it reminds us that beauty can be found in the struggle of everyday life. Each painting was a piece of his soul. Each brushstroke, a heartbeat. Each color, a feeling he couldn't put into words. If you ever want to understand Vincent, read his letters to Theo. They reveal a man who saw life not as it was, but as it could be. He wrote, "What would life be if we had no courage to attempt anything? And another time, normality is a paved road. It's comfortable to walk, but no flowers grow on it." Through his words, we see an artist who suffered deeply, yet always believed in beauty, in faith, in trying again. He wasn't painting for money or fame. He was painting to survive, to breathe, to speak, to connect. Today, Van Gogh's art is more than just decoration. It's therapy for millions. His story inspires filmmakers, musicians, poets, and dreamers. Movies like Loving Vincent, painted entirely in his style, keep his legacy alive. People visit his museum in Amsterdam and leave letters at his grave in Alvers, letters thanking him for giving them hope. Vincent didn't just paint landscapes, he painted emotion. He gave the world permission to feel deeply, to break, and to heal. Vincent van Gogh once said, "I dream my painting, and then I paint my dream." His life teaches us that even if the world doesn't see your worth today, it doesn't mean you have none. Even if you fail 1,000 times, keep going. Even if you feel invisible, your light can still shine through your work. He turned his pain into art. You can turn your struggle into strength. You can turn your silence into a story. So the next time you doubt yourself, remember Vincent, a man who painted the stars while living in darkness. If his journey touched your heart, give this video a like, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe for more powerful stories like this one. Because somewhere out there, your masterpiece, your Starry Night, is waiting to be created. Thank you for watching. Stay inspired, keep creating, and never stop dreaming.